got one question for you. Are you ready?
What up?
What is
What's up?
we got Mellow Minded back in the house again. We are so excited to have a wonderful team back together. We absolutely love the music as always. What's going on, guys?
Well, nothing much.
Doing good, man.
Mm-hmm.
Doing good.
Did have to kind of push it to 10 o'clock for those that are joining right now, just to kind of fit other people's schedules and stuff like that. So we wanted to have Keith on as well. So, yeah, welcome in. I'm glad you could make it.
Yeah, me too. I appreciate you accommodating my schedule too, by the way.
Oh, always, man. We're trying to always make sure that we highlight some of the best bands out there, and if we have to work a little bit extra hour, no worries.
And we do got Ellie in the chat. Ellie does have your shirt, so shout out to Ellie.
Thanks.
Shout out to Ellie, who picked your shirt. Yes, and won the. I think she picked a shirt, and then additionally, she won a shirt. So you can't beat that. You can't beat that.
Nope.
Yeah. So you guys are doing good. How are you doing, James?
I'm doing good. Pretty good. It's been kind of rainy here. Little thunderstorms here and there, but it's Florida. It's either hot or it's raining. So that's the weather here.
Yeah, in between.
That's just how it is.
That is totally how it is. Isn't
I think
it
it's
funny?
hurricane season this next few months, or this month and next month. I think it's like hurricane season.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah.
Hurricane season, and do you have hurricane parties? That's the question I have for you.
I don't want to do nothing. I'm not doing nothing on hurricanes. I'll have a party. Just whoever's in the house will have a party, I guess. I don't know. That's about it.
So we're so so here in Arizona, we had one hurricane in the last 10, 15 years, right? And it came up from the from the Gulf of California. So it's coming up, and we're like, we're going to do a hurricane party. So me and my friends get together. We're all just drinking. This is like a long time ago. And we're like, what's going to go on? It's just really windy. And it wasn't a hurricane. Before it got to us, it just became like a tropical storm that was really bad.
Tropical storm party just doesn't have a nice ring to it.
No, it didn't have hurricane party in it. We're in a tropical storm.
Yay, let's have a tropical storm party.
Yeah. Oh, it's raining. It's raining a lot. Well, in Arizona, anything that's raining is cool, but
Yeah, that is true.
I wish we could say that. I wish we could say that here. But
we're like the total opposite. Like, oh, it's raining again. We're like, please bring the rain, please.
Like you said, once every 10, 15 years. Here, it's like every couple of weeks.
I know.
It seems.
Is it going to be a bad hurricane? Is the question,
It's
right?
like that super muggy hot around here.
No, that's right. Because you guys are in not West Virginia. You guys are in Ohio, Tennessee Valley, right? So yeah, that's
Ohio Valley. Yeah, it's like
Ohio Valley. It borders what again?
It borders Ohio and West Virginia. Like the river runs right between the two, and then both sides of it is like on this side is Ohio, then there's just this little river, and then West Virginia. So it's like right here, right between each other. But we're originally from West Virginia, but yeah, we live in Ohio now. But it's like it doesn't sound as long as it is.
No, I mean they're like right there. You can cross the river in like a minute or two.
Yeah,
state.
That's cool. And this is what I dig about those areas. The people don't get like it. There's actually seasons, And then B, it's just beautiful. Like there's just something about a river vibe that really, I love that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice here. Yep.
Yeah, I love that, man. That's really cool. So we brought you together, but you know what this this time is. Right now, we got to talk desserts. Did you guys bring in some desserts for us?
I did.
Oh yeah.
What did Caleb bring this time? What did Caleb bring?
Got some maple cinnamon grain-free granola. It has a bear on it. There's no grains in it, apparently. See that?
Bear.
But yeah, maple cinnamon granola.
Maple cinnamon granola from the Bang Man. And what about you, sir? What do you have?
I have. This is an already pour into it. Don't judge me. It was really good. But it's an Oreo cookie dessert. I'm not really sure what all's in it, but it kind of looks like that.
Ooh.
Nice.
But it's got some like whipped cream on top, some Oreo cookies on the top. The crust is made of ground up Oreo cookies, and there's something in between, like a pudding maybe.
Probably like a chocolate pudding or something.
It's good. It's awesome.
That does sound really good. So I'm just going to say today I did not steal. Kids, well, it's past Easter and it's way past Easter. So I already ate all their candy. So I can't come up with new candy because there's no Easter's already over. So I'm waiting for the next holiday to steal candy. But I'm going to say that what I brought is, I don't know if I don't know. I was trying to think, have I brought this? But I call this Sex by Chocolate. This is so good. It is German chocolate cake, concrete from Andy's frozen custard.
Nice.
It is so good that I think that it's sex in a container.
There you go.
It looks good.
There you go.
It's so good. So good.
It sounds like a porn channel, man, like on your phone or something. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
That's
in your cup.
Yes, absolutely. It's so good. It's so good.
So is this the first week, or like is this week 2 of no stealing anything?
This is week. No, did I steal something last week? I kind of think I took something last minute, but this was actually planned. So I'm just gonna say this week was planned, and it wasn't like something because I was on a diet. I am on a diet though. I am gonna say that I have been working out at the gym. Nice. And I have been eating really good, and I've been eating. You know what? I've been trying out. So I'm gonna. Well, we'll talk about your dessert first. So we'll talk about.
Skip the dessert again.
No skipping. This is the honest truth. After I was like, he didn't win any of the dessert contest because Andy forgot to even talk about it. So let us bow down to the man that is the chef. Let us see what he has brought.
Right.
It's got to beat.
They look like they're burnt, but they're not burnt. I swear, they're just like chocolate chip cookies.
Oh my goodness!
Just like playful of chocolate chip cookies.
I love chocolate.
Yeah, I'm a chocolate holic. I could probably eat chocolate alone for every meal and just be happy. I love chocolate.
Man, chocolate's gross. Man, I hate chocolate.
You're not a chocolate fan, huh?
Get out of here. You're banned
I like
from the show.
spicy sour stuff. Yeah, that's what I like.
There you go.
Every once in a while, I'll just dig out on it like super hard. Like I'll eat ridiculous amounts of chocolate and then I'll never touch it again for months. It's weird.
Maybe that's what the problem is that you're eating nothing but you're binging. But I could binge and still do it because I did binge and still do it.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. Like, I think I say this like almost every stream. On Easter, he brought a 1 pound Reese's Easter bunny. It was already gone, and he ate it, like all of it, 1 pound. I was like, I said,
one sitting. Yes.
I appreciate that the fact that you're still here, and that you don't have like diabetes and stuff like that. Because we were going over it like in the back of it. It's like 15 servings, like 15 different it was like 1/15, and he ate all of it.
I did.
Did you feel like real sick after the fact? Like were you like just like
you know what the thing about it is that this is that cheesy. It was a Reese's bunny, so it was like mostly peanut butter. So I just was like really tired of peanut butter. It just was like a huge amount of peanut butter with some chocolate around it.
Yeah.
So it just like it wasn't
That's
like it was like
layer.
you just dipped your spoon into chocolate and was just eating it. That's
There's a
about what.
thin layer of chocolate to peanut butter.
Right. Just not as good as a Reese's. You know, it was a Reese's bunny, but it was like, you know, there's a reason why they have a thin layer and a thin layer of peanut butter, not just a mega amount of peanut butter in the middle of this bunny.
You know, me and my girlfriend Haley always make the joke, but I don't know if they still do it. I don't think they do. But they were calling them Reester bunnies for a while.
I never heard of that.
Yeah. So every time she sees one now in the store, she's like, "We got to get a Reester bunny."
A Reester. That's awesome.
It was so good. I'm just going to say that I couldn't even, normally I don't even eat the things. I'm too busy trying to chat and keep up. James has taken over this show today.
Yeah, it was Russ said it was still 16 ounces. No matter how you cut it, it was still 16 ounces.
It was a lot of food. It was too much candy. It was gross. But I am going to say that I will not do that again because I've actually been hitting the gym, and I right now have found the coolest thing. They have like now this elliptical trainer that you can go and do a hike with, where it shows like a mountain terrain or the beach, and you're doing like I did Torrey Pines, and then today I did a Wyoming mountain trail. And you're just running with this elliptical trainer, but the scenery is all like, you know, mountain trail. So kind of cool. You know, you're still in the gym, but it's still, you know, technology. I like stuff like that. Gets my mind off of me running like a fool for half an hour.
Right.
But I feel better. I do feel better. I do feel like I'm, you know, just working out feels good after you're done. I just love it. It's a good release.
I know.
You actually your brain release like all that like dopamine and stuff, so you feel like real good after one.
Right.
Yeah, that runner's high, absolutely. I have a friend that doesn't get runner's high, and I'm like, yeah, you know, like a really good feeling, and they're like, I don't ever get that. I'm like, I do. I'm like, I'm happy as could be for about and like until I fall asleep, right? So we're going to go to food really quick. And I'm going to show you on the diet. I have been eating these crazy things, and they're called popcorners.
Yeah, they're good.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Low calorie, and they are like popcorn chips. They're so good. So they have the same flavors as the popcorn chip, or a chip, but it's popcorn. So it's like not even a tenth of the calories. So you can eat like a good handful and not be. And I shout out to those guys. I don't know where they came out. It's like eating pop. You know, it's really good. I enjoy them. So we got a ton of great people in the chat. What's going on?
We got Russ. We got Amanda Taco Queen, and if Ellie's still in here, I'm not sure if she's in here still, but hello.
But yeah, hey. So you know what? We bring you guys in. We've had you guys before. I'm going to say that let's talk about your new album.
Yeah.
What has, like, you guys are bringing out some new music. I absolutely love your music. Tell us a little bit about your tracks. What is actually, let's go step back and say, how is the album going? How is it being released? Where can people find it?
Right now, it's on SoundCloud and YouTube. Don't mind me. I'm getting this thing away from my new cat. Driving me nuts playing with this ball thing. But you know, it's on SoundCloud and YouTube right now. And that's pretty much where we have it. But I'm about to be posting it to the bigger sites like Spotify and just basically all the streaming services.
You guys have like 3 songs out now, right? The Stillness just came out like 2 weeks ago, and then the
Four, I think.
Water to Wine.
Yeah, Fungus, Water to Wine.
We got Luminous, Water to Wine, Fungus, and Stillness, and the Funk. Yeah.
And again, if you can't tell by the band name, they are one of the best tunes to just chill and relax to. Absolutely love the vibe that I get out of your music yet again. In these last 3 hits that I've listened to on YouTube. I've been listening on YouTube. Absolutely the same vibe. A little bit different. I like there's some more creative stuff going on. Talk to me about, so you're releasing the album, but it's just coming one piece at a time right now. When is the full album going to finally be all out so that people can, or is it just going to be, you're just going to do
we usually try, how we're doing it right now is we're releasing all these singles. These are actually part of the album, and then they come out in their halves. And we have another one coming out called Children of Aquarius sometime, hopefully the next couple weeks. And then, that'll be the last one. And then we're going to drop the rest of the album all at the same time, sometime within the next, the following month or two after.
Okay. Right on. Cool. That's what I thought.
Yeah,
I knew that there
the
was
album
like a.
will be called. Sorry, what's that, buddy?
No, go ahead.
The album is going to be called Exodus, and the track for the promo that Keith sent you guys over, that's actually going to be the title track to the album. That's a little sneak peek teaser. I didn't mention it.
So yeah, for those listening, check it out.
Yeah, that song that Caleb was mentioning too, the Children of Aquarius, the next single that's going to come out. Keep an eye out for that, because Stillness, Asa did some background vocals on it and helped us with some ideas on it and everything. But on Children of Aquarius, that's the first one that he's really going to be playing with keyboard. He's got a really cool solo on that song.
Nice.
So that's
definitely. I'm waiting to hear more of his stuff as well.
Oh yeah,
fantastic, man.
It really is.
Nice.
I love that. That's really cool. And I'm always a big guitar guy, so anytime that you can solo out and throw us the best, I love it.
I feel like your addition, like Ace's addition to the band, has brought like a whole new kind of like a vibe to your guys' music as well.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Love having him involved.
Yeah, that's really cool, and it sounds like you guys are getting along and making some really chill music, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of like songwriting wise, it was cool because there's a lot of immediate chemistry as soon as we brought him into the fold too, which was fantastic. Because sometimes when you get a new person in, it takes a pretty hot minute before the styles really mesh together to form something really coherent, Right. But it happened almost immediately, which was really cool. Whenever we went back to the song process as a collective, everything clicked so easily. And it's been a breeze writing tunes. Not that we've always had a pretty good as far as chemistry goes, but that added a whole another element, not just with the piano, but a whole collaborative element as well.
We also met him too out at the place that me and Caleb really got our start in music. I mean, most of he learned a lot out there. It was on the tap playing. I think we talked about it before out in Fish Creek, where we always go play those parties.
Right.
We met him out there actually, and I think it was just a year or two ago, Caleb.
It's been about 2 years ago. Yeah.
Weird to think.
It was in about 2020, I think, is when it was. So yeah, about 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and for those who missed our last episode, tell us about what that venue. I love the description of the venue that you guys do this at.
Oh, the Copperhead.
It's really there's some photos on my personal Instagram, as well as there's some of us playing there on our Instagram as well, the band Instagram. But it's in a big valley. West Virginia is a lot of valleys, so it's a lot of big shallow spaces of land in between big hills, So but there's the actual house. It's a very large property that loops around several of these hills, and then there's big pavilion fitted to support live music. We're going to have some electrical hookup, the power to sustain very, very large amounts of musicians at one time. And the place also serves as a natural amphitheater. So there's even if you were to play with the speakers on, you can hear it all the way across the property, you were right there, because of how well the sound carries throughout the valley there. So it's its own natural amphitheater. And then right behind all of that is a real large creek that flows through the whole entirety of the property throughout the mountain there.
Awesome.
So there's always a real natural water going through trees, and nature's everywhere. So it's really interesting.
That's the best place to have a hurricane party at.
Yeah, right.
That's what I'm saying. Load them all up They've actually been like way back before. There's been parties there where there's been really bad floods, like while it was all going on. So people were just kind of scrambling with all their gear and whatnot. And like,
sure.
not that it stopped anything. It just there was just a muddy mess everywhere. And this like, so there's been years where it was like particularly bad. Like you would have it up to your knees in mud because it's all just dirt, and all the cars and everybody walking across it turns mud fast.
Right.
That is, this is what I love about that story is that you have been doing that. There's like generations of family that do this together as well as, and I love that vibe. So you started doing this when you were a little kid.
Yeah, when I first started going to it, I was very little, and I would watch all the live music play. And I've been exposed to a lot of music, personally, like live music, since I was a kid, between both sides of my family. And so when I was a little kid, I watched them all do that, and I was like, man, that's cool. I want to do that. So I just practiced on it more and more until I got to the ability that I was able to do that. And then Keith started coming around playing with us too, and he added a great element to all the live music. But there's a whole group of people. It's like a real big community of people called like the Pro Fun family is what it's called. It's like we all stay in touch. Everybody's been going out to those things for like several decades. It's a whole circuit of different places that runs, like not just where my grandfather's land is, but all throughout the whole region in several different states. Like, and every year people kind of travel amongst these.
Like
go to these different like live music things. What's that?
Wasn't it like 50 years of parties, and then at your PAPS it was like 19 years or something like that?
That's cool. That's
something like that. I don't remember. I think it was 92 or 93 whenever he got that property and started doing it. But people have been doing it at other places as well. There's like a big place called OTR, and they meet up there. It's like some kind of like spelunking / coal mine. It was like a weird hodgepodge, but it was something in that realm, and they did a lot of stuff there too. And they still do that. That's still a thing as well.
That's amazing stuff. That's
but
amazing
the vibe
stuff.
that it brings nice because it's very accepting,
That's what I was thinking, and that's exactly. There's a vibe. See, and I've never lived in that area. I just know that the music coming out of there. My example is your favorite Brad Paisley, coming from that area, right? And his music is so influential to me because the way he plays guitar, the way he has a folk style, plus a little bit of country rock-ish sometimes, country. And I love that stuff. And I think that when you listen to some of his older albums, his first two albums, you really get that influence out of it, especially because that was what he grew up with, is that type of level of music where there was a lot of musicianship, a lot of people being able to play off of each other. I love that stuff. Yeah. It's cool stuff. I love that picking style, just that chicken picking.
Yeah.
Picking and grinning is what they call it around here. A lot of picking and grinning.
Chicken picking.
Yeah.
They do a lot of flat picking around here too.
No, cool. That is cool. So we're expecting some stuff to hit Spotify. Go check them out on YouTube. The first three songs I absolutely love. Tell me some inspirational about this. Some of the music that has. So you have these first three songs. Tell me why you released them, and then tell me a little bit about each song and what kind of inspired them.
Starting from Water to Wine, right? You want to like starting from there? It would be Water to Wine's just a song about like having a good time. It's pretty cut and dry as far as that one is. We like to make songs too that are like real, just a general upbeat kind of thing. It's not all like too philosophical and wordy. Sometimes it's just nice to have a fun song. What was after that one? Let me think.
That one, back on Water to Wine. That one too. A lot of the time, whenever I'm coming up with like some of the music, I'll mess with recording software and make just loops to solo guitar over, and I'll just try different vibes and stuff. And I have been listening to quite a deal of like funk and kind of like disco funk from bands like Pigeons Playing Ping Pong and Papadocio and stuff, because they experiment in all kinds of different stuff. But that's where that like funk vibe came from. So I'm like, man, I really want to learn like the funk style. That's a genre I haven't really played with yet.
Oh,
I think
that's cool,
I
man.
think that was
That's
a good first release. Was the Water to Wine, because it definitely got people just on board with how your guys' style is.
Yeah, that one's a really good one. Like that it's relatable, but also it has like I just really like that bass line. That's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
that funk bass.
Yeah, that bass is really nice.
Yep. That's what I love about what you guys do. You're creative. It's not the same song every time, and you can definitely tell that there's different motivations for each song. That's the reason why I want you to go through these songs, is because the motivation and the energy behind it is completely different with each song. I don't,
Yeah.
it may be a little mellow, but with like a funk bass, you're adding, that's a musicianship right there. Being able to figure out that I want to mess with some funk bass. I've messed with funk before, so I want to see what it sounds like. I want to hear some, maybe some jazz bass in another song, those type of things.
Right.
Or I'm going to highlight my guitar solo, play a little bit of bluesy country stuff, right?
Yeah, there's quite a deal of thought that goes into the parts and what's going on during the parts of the songs.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. So so that was Water to Wine. What is the second one?
It's Fungus, I think.
Yeah, Fungus was second.
Tell me about
that
Fungus.
one was actually it's kind of similar to the theme, lyrically, especially so about kind of how Forsythia was. The whole cosmic cycle kind of thing. I've always, like, between the two of us and the whole group for that matter, we've always really been invested in that kind of mentality and that kind of spiritual culture, I guess. But I was at work one day, actually, when I was working on a good portion of these lyrics for Fungus, and we actually had some patients pass, unfortunately, and I was just already having kind of a bad day, so it just bummed me out. And I was like, man, what's something I can do to lighten my own mood so I'm not going in to take care of other people and thinking like, oh, I'm just bummed out. They don't need to know that. But so like a lot of that came from that. It was just a kind of like an emotional outpour of me managing stress on the job, I guess, and as far as lyrically goes. And but the rest of the song too is also optimistic because like it's kind of to keep that kind of thought in mind, that to use that to think about things in a more positive way too, because it's really easy to get focused on the negative anymore. There's enough of that going around. It's best not to create more of it for ourselves.
True.
And then the anagram for that would be like with fungus. The fungus is as it grows, based off of life and death. So it's something that grows out of death in itself. So that was more just symbolism to kind of wrap it up to a more easily understood metaphor. It just made for a good title.
I'm going to say this, that wow. And the reason why I'm going to say wow, I mean, it's coming out of I'm not going to say a kid, but somebody that is young and grasp this level of intent. A lot of times, that wisdom of being able to see things like this doesn't come until much later. And that's what I noticed about your lyrics, is the fact that there's a lot of wisdom. I bet you've been told before that somebody has said, hey, you're an old soul, right?
Yeah, I've gotten that a lot, actually.
Yeah. And that's when I hear these lyrics, I'm thinking old soul. This is somebody who understands it and gets it. I think the fact that you're also going and you're working with people that can die on a daily basis, and like you said, 2 folks died that day, being able to see death directly kind of helps bring about this piece of what does this all mean, and being able to have to ask those questions. So that's the reason why I really like those lyrics, because it's really like, what is the meaning? What is this? And what is, those type of questions are age-old questions, and you're trying to make meaning of it in your lyrics. I love it.
It's really the one big takeaway that I always try to include in that kind of stuff too, is because it's very, very addicting when people think about that stuff, because there's so much negative annotation attached to it too. So it's very addicting to get stuck on the negative loop of that and not catch the upswing when it's all said and done, And there's something my mother always raised me up with the ideology of a lot too. I used to be a lot more negative kid growing up, so because I just was in circumstances where it was easy to feel that way,
Right.
and so she always told me not let the world make you bitter, and it's kind of a general saying, but it always stuck around. And it's like, man, like, why do I got to let that tear me apart too? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, that's not what that's not how things should be after that anyways. Not everything has to be positive, negative. Sorry, there's always a positive lining to something, even if it doesn't really seem readily apparent at the time.
It's always just gonna be way worse in your situation. You know what I'm saying, like, I know your situation might seem bad, but it's like you could be way worse off than where you're at right now, and it will get better. Even though it's dark, it does turn into light later on.
Absolutely.
It will
and there's
get lighter.
there's so much dark around anyways, so it's like it's kind of like our responsibility as like sentient things to be able to attach our own meanings to things and to be able to have the own personal reserve to push forward for ourselves as well. Like you can't stop grinding anytime at all. You always got to keep on your toes, and you always got to make sure you take time for yourself and make sure you take time to really think about things without getting hung up on them. It's important to think about, but important to not get addicted to either. I don't know. It's a constant like back and forth,
It is. Yeah.
I love it, man.
So let's talk about a little bit. Another thing you mentioned it before about Copperhead composition. What's it like working with, like, especially with the whole CD, with the whole engineering from Alex Owens to from Lee and Alex Kopp and John Finley. How has it been, like, the whole environment to work in that studio?
Oh, it's been great.
It's been really positive. Keith is much more knowledgeable on that than I am, though, like the tech stuff. So he would be a lot to talk to about that. Like, he would be able to really simplify like all the technical advantages. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I guess I'll start with the building first. The building itself, I don't believe, I'm pretty sure this is what they said, but I don't believe that there is a symmetrical wall in that whole room, like the studio room, from the control room, I think, to the actual room where you're recording. It was all made where there's like certain slats of wood that are different sizes, different lengths, like kind of warped, kind of not, you know what I mean, to catch all different kinds of acoustics. So that you could go into this corner of the room and it would be like literally a space like this small, about as wide as my hands. And you could sit in that corner and the mic would get a different sound. You could sit out in the middle. You could sit in this little corner over here, just all kinds of different acoustics. And it was made by John Storick, who also made Electric. I forget. A lot of people call it Electric Ladyland. I think it's actually something different, but maybe just Electric Lady Studios. But that's up in New York for Jimi Hendrix, actually. Right. He was commissioned to create that studio. So this studio is very, very, very nice. And there's a lot of things too.
Yeah, see pictures of that. It's very beautiful.
Yeah, we do like our acoustic stuff up there. Like Caleb will do the acoustic guitar, if I play an acoustic guitar part for any reason, and then the vocals and the harmonies, and then a lot of stuff like I will record from home, and we do like drums and stuff up there too, but a lot of stuff I would record from home, like my guitar parts maybe, or if there's like MIDI stuff or keyboard stuff that we can get that's not a grand piano or something, we'll take it up there and then they'll just engineer it and kind of bump it up. But and ideally in the future we want to move to like actual full session recordings, maybe like multi-track recordings, which we could do there, so it's nice to have that. But yeah, the building is just real nice. Working with Alex and Kopp, Alex Owens and Lee Kopp, to answer your question from earlier, has been really nice too. They've got a lot of connections. There's a couple of different albums on the wall. Like I know that there was one on the wall that went platinum. That was like a Christmas album that they had did for something I've listened to all the time. And there's all kinds of stuff. Pictures of Third Eye Blind when Alex was performing. We met Alex in person, though I feel like the more we work with him, that's probably just a matter of time. He might show up. Because he does some work with them too on other artist stuff. But working with Alex, we mostly deal with Alex, and sometimes Lee will pop in and check in and take some pictures, just see what's going on, kind of manage it. But Alex does most of the work with us, and he's just a really good guy, easy to deal with. And I like it because we sit there and we kind of dial in our songs in real time. So we walk out of there and we know it's finished and done. But it's been great. It's been very nice working with them.
I know with how you recorded your other stuff at like like OVHXC when you recorded there, like when you did your other stuff. You think like future from now on, like you think you guys are gonna do all your recordings there, like any kind of? I mean, I know with this CD they come out with Exodus, but like future stuff, like you think you guys are gonna keep going to Copperhead?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we'll most likely be going through there. But we always he's really busy too. So like anybody, I always like to shout him out too because he's looking for people all the time and he's always grinding out stuff. So as well as his own projects. It would be cool because we do like collaborative work like that. Like not saying like we wouldn't be opposed like doing stuff with that too. It's nothing like that. But for our resources and for like all the avenues that it brings as well, this would be like the best solution currently is with Copperhead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
That's like, so that's something too. Like, people go to places, you're like, oh, this is not built right. That's a place that's built right. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a place that's built right.
They've been in the business for like decades. So like, you know what I mean? They've had a lot of time to really like figure out like all their stuff and whatnot. They've had a lot of time.
Oh yeah.
And it makes a huge difference. A good sound engineer makes a huge difference and people don't understand that like you can get the original intention behind what you're trying to do, but it also is about balance and then also being able to hear what is being said and what's being felt through
clarity.
that, right? The clarity.
Right.
And a lot of times people don't understand that that's why it's so necessary to do good sound, have a good sound engineer. Because, I play, we can play in our homes, we can have home studios, but a sound engineer can bring clarity of the music to the listener in a way that was meant from the artist. And, and that's so important, is being able to get the artist's intention out there and being able to highlight it. I love that stuff, man. It's really cool. I know I can't do it, but it's like it's the mixing of crazy to make something amazing. I love it.
Oh yeah.
Very cool. Well, I'm glad you guys were able to work with them. Yeah, I'm glad you guys were able to work with them. What is the one takeaway that you guys have from being able to do this album versus the last album?
As far as like for us, I think it's also like it's a big optimism booster because of the avenues. So like one of our biggest takeaways is the streamlined of it. Like everything's so like, you know what I mean, so cleanly done and everything's so like skillfully done. So there's a confidence from that because hey, we have access to that. Like this is like something which is a type of thing we haven't had or been used to before. So that's one of our biggest takeaways, I feel, is just there's another confidence boost, and it's just the possibilities of hopefully making even more connections through that, and just kind of working our way up the ladder as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Well, when we talk to artists, they say you got to do your dues, right? You got to do your dues. And this is that time of life where you're learning stuff. You got to meet people. It's about networking. And I think you're talking about the right place to be able to go. Are you guys talking about moving or doing anything else like in some different other venues in the area? Like outside of this, are you guys thinking to go down to like Nashville and do some stuff and try to get gigs in there, or touring some West Coast or East Coast stuff?
We're playing in our local area still. Like we still got shows booked for that and everything else. But once we're still trying to find a drummer and a bass player to play with us for live shows, like desperately. And in our area, it's hard to find people that there's the schedules, there's the ability, there's the gumption, there's so many variables. And then you have just a not real big pool of people to choose from because we're a smaller area as well. So it makes it very difficult. But once we get those ready, we'll be doing very, very elaborate shows, stage designs, all kinds of stuff, like really taking it up to a whole nother level. And we've talked about, Keith, where did we talk about? Like Pittsburgh into North Carolina area, because I have like family in Wilmington, so we would be able to like make like over the course of a week just play shows from Pittsburgh to North Carolina area.
What I'm thinking is, and there's always good thing is it comes back to what we were talking about earlier with being in the Ohio Valley and being close to like 3 different states all at once. You can go just about any direction and either be in a state. The most time you're going to spend driving is probably at max like 15, 20 minutes to get into a state out of the 3 around us. But most of the time it's just a couple minutes to either Ohio or West Virginia. That being said, we always have the option of like Pittsburgh and Columbus, and we can go even as far as like Cleveland. That's not too far off from where we're at all, and it's just straight in.
Yeah, it's about less than 2 hours. Yeah,
I'm thinking about, but Pittsburgh, Morgantown, the North Carolina thing, like he said, I'm thinking about reaching out to, because actually Alex Owens works at a music venue, and he'll play live shows with his band there. I think his band's called So Nectar, and then he also does sound for them. And we've talked to him about potentially in the future maybe doing some gigs up that way, because he just mentioned to us like, hey, if you guys ever wanted to play up this way and you had a full band together, let me know, because I run sound for a venue. So it'd be perfect. So Canton, maybe even in like northern Ohio.
Very cool. Very cool.
A lot of places are in the scopes right now. Now we're just trying to we're playing locally a lot, just to like, you know, keep our chops up and really hone our stuff together and just, you know, get our name out there any way we can. And then once we get these next 2 members, things are going to hit like a whole new ceiling. There's the ceiling that you got to break, and then we're going to break like 10 ceilings, you know, talking ourselves up a little bit. But we're the resources that we need. We're going to really going to be making some huge strikes out, you know.
Okay.
Definitely. I know, guys, when we talked about it earlier, you mentioned about a website. Any kind of website in the works?
So we haven't started anything like that yet, but I definitely think that we need to, especially now that we've got that first album out. We're working on the second one. I would like to get one designed and get some other like art done, promotional art and more tweets and different things. But yeah, that's just something we really haven't explored yet. Pretty much, so kind of just running off of what we got with Instagram, Facebook, and just the music being on like YouTube and SoundCloud and stuff. But yes, we need to, and we probably will be exploring that soon.
I know.
Cool. Very cool. And those are the things to do. You know, it's learning. I think that when you're first getting into the business, there's a lot of learning to be done. And I'm glad you guys are able to do that and be able to, you're still making amazing music. And then you guys have potential to move forward, especially when you guys get some folks for your live gigs. You know, that'll be huge for you guys to be, because a tour is where you make the money, and tour is also where a lot of people who are not able to or don't know about you will be able to see you and then tell about their, hey, I saw this great band. You should talk, you know, we're going to tell you about it.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want. And that's part of why we want to have a full band too, is that we really want to leave that lasting impression after the gig. Like there's a lot of times you could play 2-piece, you could play 3-piece. It's going to sound great, you know, but most often people aren't going to go home and go, you got to see this band, you know. But if we had the full sound, the full picture, got to play all of our originals in their entirety, I really think we could get that feeling out of somebody. They would go home and they would tell a friend, like, next time they play, we're going.
Yeah. Now, have you guys talked about possibly relocating to different places, like going down to Nashville, because Nashville has a ton of players, or maybe New York City or something like that?
Not so much like relocating. Traveling isn't really too bad for us. Between me and Keith, we've had like jobs or situations or otherwise that require us to travel a lot anyways. So like I guess we haven't really necessarily talked about leaving the area anytime as far as like residentially speaking, but a lot of touring that we would like to do in the future, like a lot of stuff to get rolling. So traveling is definitely a big thing we're going to do with a lot of different places, and it's going to be pretty good solid travels, but nothing residential unless we have like a really good opportunity that presents, you know, to make it otherwise.
No, I get it. Totally get it. Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's good.
I don't remember. Did we ever talk about the funk or stillness yet? The meanings behind those? I don't remember if we did that.
No, I don't think we have. I was
a little bit, but yeah, not stillness yet.
Yeah, but stillness is there's actually a quote by John Butler in that. He's like a real interesting character who did an interview. And then that's where it's from. He's doing an interview with some person publishing a book of some sort or website. I really don't remember. But that one is like the most of the meaning you can get from the song will be in that interview itself. Like it really explains the most of it in that little 30-second clip we got in there. But that's basically about enjoying like the stillness in itself, taking the time to really be present in each moment. It's right in the title. That one, as far as levity goes, is pretty simple. So it's appreciating all the moments that you get and making the most out of each one, as opposed to just kind of running through everything on autopilot.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite bridges we've ever written to a song, because it starts out real soft and mellow, and then it just builds into that big bridge.
I was just thinking about this, and stillness is like a thing. It's very Zen-ish is a word, it's Zen. And I think that that's something that really resonates with me, because it's people who don't know, it's mindfulness, stillness. Eckhart Tolle talks about the stillness, right? But it's really talking about a Zen / Buddhist philosophy of being mindful, and very big Eastern philosophy of being mindful and being in the moment, which is where that stillness resides, is being able to reside in the here and the now. Right. And I think that's, that concept, in putting that concept into your music, is really amazing, because I think that people need to hear that message more often, that you can be in this space where you're just still, where you're just able to be mindful of the things around you. And with you guys are just right in nature. It's so easy probably to go back outside and hear a stream, or be in nature. But you can have stillness inside of your house where you're just meditating, or it's just a really good message to give to people. And I love that about what I hear from that specific song.
So you got a question from Russ. If you want to highlight that.
Oh yeah. Let's hear.
Says, would it be feasible to put a deadline for finding band members?
I'm sorry, putting a what?
It says, would it be feasible to put a deadline for finding band members?
Oh, okay. As far as that's what the rough part is, because we don't want to rush things too much, because sometimes haste makes waste. But at the same time, it's like, man, we're so tired of waiting, playing these smaller shows, and but with us, we're not sure how to go about it quite yet, because it's also for us a really big part. Because granted, if we have live members, it's really going to be more for parts that are already written. Like we really need performers more than we need collaborative writers or anything.
Now, at least, so, yeah, because right now that's kind of our struggle, is that we kind of starting out, it was just me and Caleb, and we were pretty decently versed, or well versed sometimes, in just the whole arrangement of instruments. Like collectively, me and him together as two people could just write the whole song. So most of the time we were writing the bass. Actually, all the time at the beginning, at least, we were writing the bass, the drums, the guitars, the lead guitars, vocals, harmonies. So instead of having different people perform them, we were all doing that. So for our first bit of stuff, it is going to be what he said, where it's they're just going to be in a way gigging musicians. But I believe too that if they're a good fit and that everything vibes well, then and they want to contribute creatively too, then we can definitely add them to the band.
Like I said,
it's just hard to get that figured out, because we don't want to come across as callous or anything, you know what I mean, or controlling. We're always open to any creative input that anybody can provide. Whether it be Alex throwing in recommendations from the studio, or some person you were jamming with at a party or something. It's hey, dude, you guys, you know what I mean? We're always open to any kind of input. But sometimes when you get people into a band, especially when things start to get established, it can be very easy to some people maybe start to feel sidelined, because they're not getting as much creative input into a project. And that's we're still trying to figure out how to go about that without coming across as mean to anybody or coming across as anything, nothing like that. So there's a little bit of anxiety behind it too,
I think that you guys will figure that out in time, and that comes with just, being able to go through this process. And I think that you guys will figure it out. I have no doubt in my mind that you guys will find the right players, because your music, it resonates with a lot of different people. And I'm sure that somebody else will say, yeah, that resonates with me. I need to be playing with those guys. So I look forward to the day where you guys are able to get that, and that'll just be, in my opinion, it'll just be right around the corner. It's just the right guy will meet the right time, and that just happens with a lot of different musicians. They'll just they'll feel this vibe to come in and say, yeah, I can add. And the good thing is that you guys have already written a certain amount of things. So somebody coming into the band now would have to be able to play the past tracks. But then going forward, you guys would be able to have that encouragement from them and maybe even some input from a new member coming in, like you guys have always done, right?
Right.
Being able to write together, and then maybe sometimes you write your own lyrics or you do your own thing. It doesn't matter. It's just, I think it just happens. And I think that the way I hear from you guys is you guys have a very good open-minded creativity that's looking for influences from everywhere. And so I think that that's where I see another person coming in being able to add to what you guys are already doing.
The hope is that whoever joins, that they can teach us something as well as we can teach them something, and it'll be a mutual beneficial relationship.
Right. And that's the kind of people you are, to be honest with you. That's such a really good positive thought behind, because there's so many people that this is my thing, this is my baby. Don't mess with my baby. I'm the lyrics writer. I am this, I'm that. Where I don't hear that from you guys. You guys are saying, "Hey, let me vibe with you and see what you're able to input into this." And I'm open to hear it and listen to it. I love that. That's really that's how you become, better.
Oh
yeah. Staying open is the key. You got to be open to anything and everything, and just let it happen naturally too. That's comes back to what we were saying about trying to rush to find band members. Is we don't want to get to the point to where we feel like we just had to do it and we had to throw it together and it becomes a chore. And we want to make sure that whoever we get in is just, we're gonna vibe. That's a big part.
Like a certain process too. Like, what I'm saying, like when you kind of interview band members and stuff like that, you kind of feel out their energy. If it's something that you're like, first and foremost, I guess if you can kind of talk and vibe and chill with them or whatever like that, that's a good plus. And then seeing how their playing style or how they would fit and how their style would be towards yours.
Yeah, the biggest thing for us is the personality. You know what I mean? Like playability is not even so much important as long as like somebody can just keep up with like what we've already written and stuff. But the thing is like comes back to what I was saying. We could always teach them. You know what I mean? I'm sure they would have something to offer to teach us that we would learn in the process. So, but personality is a big thing because it can cause a lot of problems in a band too.
Oh yeah.
And that's if you think about it historically, and some of the biggest ones I think about are Eddie Van Halen, David Lee Roth. Very different personalities and saw the bands in two different ways, right? Very good together at times, but sometimes it's great to have that, that piece where it's a different personality but it still blends, right? It's a blend. But sometimes, like with Van Halen, David Lee Roth was just out doing his own thing eventually. And he was like, I'm the star. You guys are just the band. And I think that's the reason why they split.
His ego was really bad.
Bad ego. And that's what we always try to avoid because that's just like, there's so many great bands that could have made so much more great music in their process together had they just not been a bunch of like douches to each other, And in some people's defense too, because it is a work environment too. Some people forget that when you start taking it really seriously, there is an element of work environment to it too. Because there are sometimes you got to meet deadlines, you got to show up to stuff, you got to like, like a whole myriad of things. And but some people don't handle that stress well, or some people who have a hard time taking responsibility for something anyways might be like, oh well, I'm incapable of doing any wrong, and so you know what I mean. Then it just hurts people's feelings. It causes all kinds of negative feedback. And with open communication, open everything in a group for that matter, that problem will never happen.
Yeah, and then some people get too comfortable too quick. You know what I'm saying? So like they're
right.
Oh, I'm in here. I'm in the band now. I'm cool. I'm good to go. Like, I'm saying, I'm good.
Yeah, The best way to put it is that you got to be mellow-minded to join Mellow Minded.
I love it. We're gonna coin that. So that's what's really awesome, and I can't wait to hear more from your future. And so let's go a little bit over the release. So we have there's another release in a week, right? And then the album will come out.
Give or take about weeks on the release.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the full album drop should be hopefully that following month, because a lot of the stuff in the studios, like a lot of it we already got recorded. It's just a matter of getting some of the last tracks recorded and then getting them mixed and mastered and everything, presenting quality. But so it'll be the final wrap up. But we should expect hopefully this next release in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, and about a month to a maximum of 2 months. All the rest of the album will drop at once, which will be like another 6 or 7 songs.
So like August, September time. Cool.
Right, coming in towards the right around the beginning of the fall, we should be wrapping it up.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's good to hear. That's what I was looking for. So
We'll have
now
some new album art coming soon, real as well for this. Like we already, we're gonna try and get in contact with the same person that did our last one and set up this next one hopefully real soon. So the album art will be available as well, which will in turn become available on our merch sites as well. So
cool. And as we know, your merch is amazing. I put the link in our chat. Go check it out. Really cool merch. Ellie is, if you go to Mr. Chef here, Mr. Bearded Metal Chef, you will find Ellie in a T-shirt of Mellow Minded. So definitely go check it out. And it looks good on Ellie. It looks good on Ellie.
Ellie Orchard on or Orchid, Ellie Orchid on Instagram.
Yeah, it looks good on her.
Andy, check your private chat.
Yeah.
I saw where you shared that, and I was like, oh, no way, man. It's always nice to see somebody in that merch. By the way, Ellie, if you're here, I appreciate it.
Yeah, it really helps us too by doing that. Not only are we glad to see that brings you joy and that you really dig our stuff, but that helps us too by doing that. And we really, really appreciate it. For real.
Let's do it, my friend. Let's do it. So we have just hit a big milestone for all of YouTube. We just hit our 100 subscriber mark, which for a small YouTube, for any YouTube, there are mile markers, and YouTube's one of their big mile markers is 100, because now we can go and make YouTube Tasty Licks music. And we will be putting that out there so that people will know what that is. And then, it's so cool. We are so blessed to have so many people, and especially with Mellow Minded on, one of our favorite groups, being able to hit such a big milestone while we're on a show with you guys. I appreciate our shows are not, we have a really big, cool thing behind the scenes where we're trying to get musicians, fresh musicians, the best musicians that we can to get and fill these spots. And we have a lot coming up. But we also have our favorites like Mellow Minded. As soon as they say they want to come on, we're like, yep, let's get them scheduled. Yeah. Let's get them. It's just because of their right, and it's their musicianship, to be honest with you. I like you talking about funk bass and guitars and different solos and adding that stuff. It's so creative that I just dig that. And also, as people know, I'm the practitioner for a reason, because I taught meditation classes for 10 years or 5 years, 7 years, I don't remember, a long time. And so I dig that vibe, Caleb. I totally dig that vibe. And finding music that suits me like that and suits my soul is something that is really awesome. So we're going to give away some Mellow Minded merch. So we would love to give another T-shirt away, but we can't give it to Ellie.
He's gonna have
we love you, Ellie. We love you, Ellie. But we have to.
Ellie can help, maybe. She can help, maybe.
Ellie, that's what I'm going to say. Ellie is going to pick a number for us.
Actually, I'm gonna have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. You want to go question? Oh, Ellie. Maybe Ellie has a question.
What a question? I mean, whatever. I mean, she's been quiet listening to watching Stranger Things, so which is it's a really good show. I've just finished the episodes on that.
Me too. The new season is
yeah. You gotta wait till July till the last 8 and 9 episodes. 8 and 9.
I don't even want to think about this too long.
At first, I thought it was the end. I'm like, wait a minute, it can't end right now. They still have so much like left. And it said, oh yeah, they're on a break. And I'm like, ah.
Yeah, it's funny.
Haley made
a joke when we were watching it. We were right at the tail end, and she said, "All right, we gotta wait until July." And she didn't mean it. She thought there was more episodes, and all of a sudden it's coming July. And I was like, I knew they were on a break. I only knew it was a chunk of episodes, but I thought we had more than that.
Yeah. So, all right,
I'm feeling cold, man. I've just been watching like the Misadventures of Flapjack like a child. I got real inebriated and watched that last night, so I got to do that.
Okay, Ellie, I want you to. Does Ellie have? Does she know your Instagram? So, do you have a question? Okay, let's go. Question. What do you got? What's your question?
Okay, so even and it was actually even mentioned in our live stream tonight. So they're coming out with a new record. Where was their new record recorded? What studio?
Ooh, we have mentioned it.
What studio was there?
And Ellie can guess, but Ellie has to give her T-shirt away. Now
we're like demanding. You gotta give it away.
Ellie, you are awesome for coming in. We totally appreciate you. You know that.
Yeah, Ellie, you rock. You're the best.
Yeah, she's. You know what is so cool because she really did have her choice of T-shirts for the first one, and she chose you guys. So I was like, I was fairly ecstatic. I was like, yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah,
yes, it is. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, this is the one thing, and again, we bow down to folks that are doing this and trying to do this in full-time mode and being able to gig and do their day jobs. This is the hard grind that people talk about. You have guys have day jobs. You're working till 9 o'clock at night. Caleb is doing. You're doing. If I remember right, you're working for senior living, right?
No, I'm working in
with a hospital.
I used to do that, but in a hospital. Yeah, I'm finishing up my internship after that to get my full license as a nurse. And then I'll be like practicing as a licensed nurse after that. But I'm finishing up the last couple months of my internship. And before that, though, I was a PCT and I was a certified phlebotomist, but I was doing more like the PCT stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to do that, and then I'm going to take a break for a while until I decide to go back to school again if I hate myself enough for it, I feel like punishing myself.
That's so cool, though, man. That's so cool. But this is the grind. When people talk about it, this is the grind. You guys are doing daytime jobs. You're trying to make your music happen at the same time. You're trying to get band members to come in and help do some of your live shows with you. Plus, you're releasing albums, and you're meeting up and getting them mixed. That's the grind that people talk about, especially at the beginning. It is so hard, and it's so easy to get lost because you're trying to make all of this happen and eat and trying to eat,
It is tough, that's for sure.
All right, still no guesses. What studio did they record their album in?
What's a hint? What's the hint?
It rhymes with a certain species of snake.
Yep, I was gonna say that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the first part of the name is the Arizona is the state.
I think we still got maybe Russ is here. Maybe Russ is listening. Ellie said she won't guess, so I think we got Russ in here still.
I think Ellie's got a guess. Ellie may be the only guesser.
She said I won't guess.
Oh, she won't guess. I know. I saw that. She's going to have to guess. Ellie, you're going to have to guess.
You know what it is.
Ellie may have to take another T-shirt, and then she will have to give it to yet another daughter or friend or something. I don't even. To this is what's cool is that the fact that she would give it to somebody else is still cool because they had to have heard of Mellow Minded now.
Nope.
Oh, he's close.
Nope.
It's the Arizona. It starts with a C, and we are this C state, but it's another snake. But you're close, Ellie. You're close. You're really close. They're also known as
a very venomous snake. It's a very venomous snake.
Yes.
And if you're into Batman, it was also a Batman villain.
Is this a myth or not? But don't they say it smells like when you're in the area and you can smell one, it smells kind of like cucumbers or something like that?
Oh, that's crazy. I've never
Something
heard
like
that.
that. Yeah, I've heard that before. I don't know if it's true or not, but
I figure I wasn't sure. I can't recall ever being around one that I know of.
I was trying to think, is a water moccasin the same thing as this? Or are they two different
I don't
snakes?
know. I think I know they're two, I think two separate, but I don't know if they're like in the same family or anything like that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't know.
Right. When I lived in Missouri, we saw a lot of water moccasins. Ugh, I hated those.
Yeah, we have both of said snakes here. We don't see them too often. It's very rare. Most of the time, it's like
to get Russ an extra chance to get the merch. Russ is
Russ, dude, or 7 other people, or 6 other people that are just sitting there going, I could guess, but I'm choosing not to. Because we know you're all listening to this wonderful conversation. While we're waiting, you know, it's like that Jeopardy. Now we're gonna be going like, just say a number. Just say a number. First number, 11. No. So we're gonna go with. Okay, I will give part of this away. It is Arizona is the copper state. So there's another name. There's a snake name that has copper in it. Just say the name. Say the name. 101 subscribers, my friends, is on the. That's what we just passed. We are so excited about this. That is a milestones. We just hit the year. We're at 100. We're at 100 subscribers, which is awesome. We're only going to grow up. We are official sponsors of Carnival of Chaos, so from Chaos Guitars. So we're excited to tell you about that as well. You'll see a lot more of them and artists from that show or going to that show and playing in that show in current weeks. So we're excited. Next week, we have a band from Down Under coming in and interviewing, but we're actually going to do something weird. So we're going to interview them, and I don't think we're actually going to interview them live. We're going to do the live taping, and then, or we're going to do a taping, and then we're going to throw it on a live on Tuesday. So,
all right, so I got it. Copperhead.
Ellie, thank you. And Ellie, you can give this to your next friend, your next door neighbor, to yourself, and you can just keep sporting Mellow Minded t-shirts all you want.
Keep posting them. We'll keep sharing them, and we'll get everybody out there.
That's right. This is the cool thing is that, and this is really a great band, everybody. This is really a great band. I can't tell you enough that we are so honored to have great musicians on. This is one of those bands that's right up there in great musicianship. Being able to create music is hard when you're talking about being able to balance all these instruments that they do. It's complex what they do. And I don't think that there's many bands that can do it. Usually people can get somebody who can play, a guitar, but it's, and bass is one of the hardest ones to master because you can do a bass line that is matching with the the singer or some of the keys, but they're doing different stuff with it. They're doing a funk bass line. Mm-hmm. That's a completely different style of bass than any other, and being able to play with that and turn that into a song and put other stuff to balance it out is tremendously, it's a lot of musicianship. It's knowing how to do that and balance it. It's really good. So I'm really excited to hear more of your tunes coming up. Again, in September, August time, you will be able to see the full album. And they're just going nowhere but up. So we're excited to have them on. And that will, do you guys have any last thoughts before we take off? Because
Elliot's actually passing it to Russ. So he's awesome and he's always here. So
that is true. We appreciate you, Russ.
Always here.
Yeah.
Russ Young
Thank-
is the winner.
Ding ding. Thank you very much, Russ, and thank you very much, Ellie. You know we love you. So absolutely. So you guys have any last words for us, mellow-minded folks?
What you got, Caleb?
It ain't easy being cheesy.
It ain't easy being cheesy.
Gotta be mellow-minded to join mellow-minded.
There you go.
There you go.
That's
We got their new catch. That's going to have to be on your album somewhere. Gotta be mellow-minded to be
We
listening.
could put it like in like a little spoken word, reverse it. You know, like
Oh,
we've
yeah,
done
that's
like
what I
little weird
A little liner note, a little liner quote.
There you go. I love it. We're actually. I'm gonna have to go put that on the description of this video. So it'll be on there.
Yeah,
I love it.
sweet.
Love it. But thank you guys again for coming on in. We will have you on yet again. We know we will because we absolutely love your music. So we'll be hitting and pushing as much as we can to get people listening to your music as always. And James, any last thoughts?
No, yeah, it's always awesome having you guys on. I said it's always a just like your music, being mellow, having good vibes. It's how this live stream is. It's mellow, it's chill, and it's just laughing and just good times. You know what I'm saying? So it's always awesome to have you guys on. When you get more into releasing like your album and stuff like that, we'll definitely have to have you on again and release it. So or either release it or have you on after you release it. So
Yep, for sure.
Either or, that works.
Right on, guys. Right on. Well, you know that James always has to have the last word.
stay tasty.
See you next time. And I have to figure out how to get out of here. Where is my cursor? Where is it? There it is.